everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching as always. Remember, if you have any questions about any videos that you see on the channel or want to reach out about any repairs that you see, feel free. Ellis at ellismowers.com. My website's ellismowers.com, and you can reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook at ellismowers09. Let's go ahead and get started with today's repair. If you've been watching the channel probably over the last year, you've seen this mower. This is now, let's see, May to November, June, July, August, September, October, November. We're talking about 6 months or so after I had sold this mower. It's coming for another repair. This is the one I did a ton of engine work to when I really didn't need to, when it was just the flywheel magnets. So this has got a new engine block and all that good stuff on it. And or a different one from the original. What also this has been doing, it did it once and I fixed it for them about 20 hours after I repaired it, and now we're about 40 hours after that. So it has done 2 head gaskets. It's gone through 2 head gaskets in that time. If y'all remember that this mower had that like a little bit of thumping sound or whatever while it was running. We're going to do a little bit of troubleshooting before we get into figuring out really what I want to do with this. Do I want to try a new head gasket? I've got another engine just sitting there waiting. Do I just slap that on it and call it a day? Or do I take the block and swap all the components off of this block onto the good block that I have in the shed out there? I don't know. We'll find out in this video, and I think I might reserve part 2 for a deck repair. One thing that I didn't even notice when I had it is that it's not a blade issue, but it's the actual blade sits about a 1/4 inch further down on one side than it does the other. So we'll get that. I think we'll get that into another part because I kind of want to make that into its own separate video. But for the engine portion of this, let's go ahead and get started with it and see what we end up mustering in terms of fixing this, hopefully longer term for them. Alright guys, so here it is. It's a D110. I think it's a 2015 model year. The head will tell me. Because I did use it's a 15 model year, and what it has been doing, I'm not quite sure why, but we're gonna try and figure out. It's on its second head gasket and it's blown it already, and at 100, I know it's got the service light on it. I have to look out how to clear that. But it's got 124 hours on it. When he got it from me, it had about 60 some. I replaced the head gasket the first time at 80 some hours. So we've gone about 40-ish hours roughly. And we'll go ahead and get into this repair. Hopefully it will not be terribly difficult. Part of me wants to put the old head, or the head that originally went on this block, onto this engine. Reason being is it's got the newer head on it, and I think there may be different types of metal. This metal looks like a darker, I guess it's aluminum, looks like a darker shade than what I put the head on. And so I'm wondering if they're just not meshing up very well, and that might be causing my thumping and then eventually causing the head gasket to blow. If I do the head and it's still thumping like it is, I think I'm going to call it a day with this block, and I might swap everything over to the other block. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that. That's a lot of work, but it allows me to keep that engine over there for a future project. And I know that, so this thing's got the new block had a flywheel magnet go, and I know that it's a little weird with flywheel magnets, and I don't want it to be throwing up more flywheel magnets. So it's a lot of questions. I think what I'm going to do first is get the head off of this and confirm that it's a head gasket first off, and then I've got a head gasket here. I've got the old head. It's sitting, just chilling over there somewhere. Let me stop talking. Let's get the hood off. 10 millimeters. Take these four bolts off, and you just take the whole hood off if you do that. And we might just set it aside, or we might get the, let's see, get this little hood clip off here. There we go. So that's just a little hood clip for the wire. It's 10 millimeters. I'll see you when I get the hood off. All right, guys, next order of business, we're going to get the cover off here. 2 10 mils here, 2 10 mils here. And then last but not least, we have a quarter. I'm going to take these 3 lines. You can see where the oil's been kind of pumping through the breather too with the head gasket being blown. And just take these off, because that way that frees the fuel pump up for me not having to pull this fuel pump off of this engine cover, which is a little bit easier. So I'm going to do those off camera, and then we're going to look under, and I'll show you how we are going to go about getting the head bolts off next. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. Got the cover off like I mentioned. Next order of business is I got the exhaust off. They're usually either Allens or Stars. Hopefully they're not rusted on for you. We're going to pull that out of the way, and then I'm going to get my 10 millimeter back, and what we're going to do is we're going to take these 4, well, I'll tell you what, let's see what we can do here. Yeah, can't really do anything. I think I might be able to slide this out if I'm lucky, or I may not even need to do anything to it. I may just let it drop. There's a, it's like a 8 millimeter. Under here. Pulls that off, and then we just drop that exhaust out of the way. I remember I was working with some inferior tools last time, because I did this on the site, and man, it's just, I don't really have the capacity to be mobile doing big jobs like this right now. So one other thing I've done, you might be able to see the floor jack. I have jacked the mower up a little bit in preparation to take the head off. You can see where you can kind of see where the exhaust was leaking pretty good as well. That's my fault. Just take the spark plug out. After that, I'll grab the 10 millimeters. Ooh, Champion. We'll probably see a ton of oil in it. A ton of oil. Yeah, I mean, it's just caked on there. So we've probably been having a head gasket issue for a while. And it finally reared its head enough to start smoking. It's just frustrating, because you think you get this stuff fixed, and then it decides it doesn't want to stay fixed. 10 millimeters. We're going to take the valve cover off. And I have invested in valve cover gasket, so I don't have to use RTV. All right, valve cover off. This mess is still smoking from that. Now, next order of business, probably have to get a bigger impact for this. This is a bunch of half. No, there's 10 mils as well. They're 10 millimeters. Need to take this mounting plate out for the cover. If we need to swap any of this over, we will, to the new engine to make it look like we've got a 19.5 horsepower or 19 horsepower, whatever, for the purposes of it looking stock still. 10 mils, I'm just going to crack them loose with a socket ratchet if I have one long enough here. But I'm going to go around and just crack these loose. Have that exhaust leak. This thing was mighty quiet. I know I didn't run it for y'all mostly because I didn't want to get the engine hot before I ran it or before I started working on it. But you could hear, just if you got close, you could hear a little bit of hissing at the head, which meant head gasket. So we're taking these bolts out now. One other thing I would like to do is take off these bolts for the carb. That way we can just pull this thing out when it's time. And that gasket is expanded too. This isn't a hard job to do, it's just the fact that it won't stay fixed is the frustrating thing. Let's see, so I've got them all. Pop it off now. I think I got them all, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not one in there. And just get a little bitty bump here. There we go. It's an expensive hammer. Oh man, come on, buddy. Didn't want to use this, but let's see what the culprit is. Did it blow again? It should come off the rockers. Pull hard enough, it did. Yeah, there it is. It actually, it's interesting. It didn't, I don't know if it blew, but it actually tore. Ooh, easy. Got oil coming out of it. So we're gonna set that aside. Got some sort of tray I can put this in right now. You can see it on the gasket too. Just flooding the crankcase with oil. Got a little bit of carbon buildup on the cylinder too. I don't remember what the walls looked like. I thought the cylinder walls looked pretty good. light. Hopefully I can see it. We'll do a little bit more investigating, but here, there's the premise. Head gasket. Why is it blowing? No clue. No clue at all. I just don't think it really likes running like this. So let me work on it. Let me do a little bit of problem solving and figure out. Like I said, I think I'm going to put a head gasket on it to start. If I don't like the way that it sounds still, then we're going to scrap that idea and we're going to just do something else with it. Alright guys, so I don't know, y'all. I think that I see this right here, and this is a terrible light, but I don't know if y'all can see that on the camera very well. But there's like it's almost like a groove or something worn into this cylinder wall right here on the block, which I'm not really liking very much. And it's just like it's been like a little chunk or something has been eaten out of it. So I think seeing that, I don't know if I want to pursue trying to repair this block. Yeah, that may have something to do with the whole compression deal and the thumping and whatnot. So we will not abandon the idea, but we're gonna not use this block anymore, which means that what I'm just going to do is just swap blocks, and I think I can swap engine covers and all that stuff too and make this look pretty darn good, I think. I hate it because I didn't want to do all this work on this thing, but I think it's going to necessitate it given our circumstance. So, things I have to do. Take off. Let me get all the tools aligned and we'll just go ahead and go to town on this thing. I might just let the camera roll for a little while. I think, let me know what y'all think, but I think that scoring on the bottom of the block there has something to do with why it's doing what it's doing. Not fully sure, but I think it is. I'm brainstorming because I know it wouldn't take a lot for me to get that other block together and make this back to its original spec either. And I'm tempted to do that also. Let me do a little bit of brainstorming and deciding of what I want to do. And then we're just going to, we'll go from there. The more I think about it, the more I just want to put the original block and stuff back on it. The only thing is I just am concerned about the flywheel magnets on this. Because if you look, I lost one, and who's to say that these will pop off eventually, you know? That's what I'm concerned about. Like I said, I'm just not sure. I know it just kind of messes up the charging deal a little bit, but these things don't weigh anything. Is it really going to throw the balance of it off very much? I can look and see how much flywheel is too. I'll be back once I think a little bit. Alright guys, I spent maybe 15 minutes or so pondering about this, and I'm going to go ahead and put that other engine on over there. I am just not on a customer's mower. I am just not confident. I want to bring this back to original spec, but I am not confident in this flywheel, and that flywheel alone is $130. We might experiment with it down the line. If I want to put an engine on something, I'll rebuild the block that's in my shed in there, and we'll make it all nice and original looking again. That being said, we've got to get the flywheel off of this one now, so let me grab the tools I need. Just need a little screwdriver to pop it off, and then a 15/16 to pop the nut off, and we're going to bang on it and take it off and put it on the other one. Relatively easy. Done it a few times. Alright guys, so we're going to do this now. Little plastic cover, just need a screwdriver to take off. We need a 15/16 now. Impact. Take this off. And that should get that off. And then now what we can do, we'll keep this flywheel and the flywheel shroud. I have a one that I use to pull off flywheels with that's already mushroomed and whatnot for these. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to take a 5/16, pull the coil off. I've already taken the coil wire off, so we just pop that off. And put it aside. We'll need it for the new engine because the new engine does not have. I robbed the coil off of it, basically. Let's see. I can essentially take this dipstick off if I wanted to. What else? Get a 10 mil. Take off. Just going to take the negative battery terminal off, that way I'm not battling battery voltage. Push that aside. Oh, come on. Okay, and I don't know if this is going to be a 10 or probably 7/16. Yes. We're going to take the starter nut off. Seven sixteenths. There we go. Just got to be careful. You don't want to rip off the connector inside the starter. Sometimes I just do a swift little pull like y'all just saw me do. Other times I'll actually like put a pair of vice grips right there. Just kind of depends on how much rust is it on it, and kind of depends on how I feel on a given day. It just really depends. Next order of business, we are going to gosh, if I gotta take the coil and everything off of this, I think I do. It's not that big of a deal. But we've got, this is one of these high capacity charging coils. This doesn't have an electric PTO on it, but we're gonna keep it stock as we can. What else? We got the ground wire there. We'll take that off for right now. Ground wire for the coil. Got a lot of, or for the voltage regulator, excuse me. That's a 5/16 also. Set that aside. Use that a little later. Like I said, that gets that off out of the way. Pry bar, we're going to take a pry bar and we're just going to hit this thing and it should come off. It's only been on there a few months and hasn't been exposed to any water or whatnot. Let me grab my pry. Oh, I got one back here. How about that? Oh, but I still need a hammer. So let me go get my hammer and we'll pop that flywheel off. All right, hammer is here. We're just going to find an area to lift up on it gently. Come on, buddy. Really? Take a little bit bigger of a pop here. Jeez. Okay. Luckily, we're not trying to save any threads or anything here, but man. Ah, ha. This makes me wonder now. Makes me wonder. I have a sheared flywheel key as well. So that's, like I said, it kind of makes me wonder as to, I wonder if it did that ever since I put it in. Not sure. Because that would cause pressure issues and stuff like that too. Man, all right, this may change things. Live changing. So this is all connected as one. That shouldn't be preventing this from popping off. We'll go on the other side here. Dang. It makes me wonder if it's sheared right off the beginning, you know? Gotta get it off. I get the flywheel off in some capacity. Otherwise, I can't do anything. I'm not going to do that. It's just asking for trouble. Ugh. This is one of the hardest flywheels I think I've ever seen to get off. Usually they just boom. Dang. Let me do a little bit more work on this and let me determine what I may want to do next steps here. All right, I think I'm just going to go ahead and swap it. Man, I didn't know. But thing is, will the flywheel key shear again? And again and again. And then this other engine I think is going to be all right. We just got to put it on. Taking the coil off. And we'll set those bolts aside. And come on. So I've got to take this starter bolt off. Might as well go ahead and take the starter off too. They're 1/2 inch. This engine is giving me a bad taste. Okay. And I'm just not really interested in pursuing. Okay, so that ground actually goes onto that. I have to remember that. Have to do that real quick to the other one. Coil we'll use for this is a high capacity coil, so we will swap that to the new engine, and along with the dipstick too for the pressurization. In terms of everything else, just got to take the carburetor off, take this solenoid off over here. We're just going to take the carb off of the engine here. Set it aside. We'll use it on the new engine. Come on. There we go. So we'll just set that aside. Throttle cable is a 5/16. We'll take it off. Put the throttle all the way down. Yeah, throttle all the way down. You just pull it back. That gets your throttle cable off. What is left to do? I'm going to wait on the dipstick. What's left to do is 5 bolts. Yeah, 5 bolts. So, under the mower, there are let me look. There's your pulley, which I think is a 5/8 or a 9/16, and then there are 4 engine mounting bolts. It's hard to show when it's dark. I just want to tell you that they're right here, and the ones in the back right here, back or front and rear back there, and that should be all. And then I'm going to switch that tube right there over as well after I get the oil out of this thing. And then we should have this thing off. So let me go ahead and get it to the point where we're going to take it off. All I got to do is take off them 5 bolts and we're ready to roll. Alright guys, I did those aforementioned bolts, and this thing's ready to come off. Oh, I think. It's not really anywhere good to grab on the rear. What are we missing here? Oh, I know what it is. The wires are still in the... And oh, I still got a ground strap over here on the side. That will do it as well. And is there anything else? No, just this is kind of in the way. Get that looped around. It should just fall right off of the pulley. Should. What else here? That doesn't go to anything. Come on. Maybe if I put the part brake on, it'll release it better. Alright, let me get this out of the way. We will extract the oil and stuff from that in just a minute. I'm going to get this new one on. Get everything out of the way, cleared out. Yes. Okay, so kind of need to line it up, hopefully, with the pretty close. Alright, let me get this lined up now with the pulley. I can see it. About right. Where is that oil coming from? Oh my gosh! I didn't put a dipstick or a thing drain plug back in. Ugh. Where is that at? It's over here somewhere. Well, let it be. I'll get it in a minute. I got the bottom pulley lined up, and dang it. I'll just get a rag and put that up in just a second. I'll swap out the plugs for them as well, but we're essentially on. I think I will see if I can get this bolt in first, I suppose. We've already made a mess. What's a little bit more oil? Alright, well I'm going to mount, just line the, I can't show it to y'all very well, and I'm making a freaking mess in here. I can't show y'all very well, but I'm going to line up all the bolts and just bolt it on, and we'll put everything else on after. Whew, alright guys, everything is back on it. I just went ahead and put y'all on the charger, and I just went to town. Y'all have seen me do this already on this mower. If I remember, I'll put the link to the other video that I did on this mower when I originally did all the work. That turned out to be that I just undid it all. Either way, oil is in it. I've got all the lines and stuff hooked back up. And new oil filter, like I said, all the lines, battery and everything. I have confirmed that it'll turn over. And all I'm going to do now is finish getting my tools off. If this thing runs tonight, I'm going inside the house and having me some nice dinner. And then I'm going to come out here tomorrow and finish everything up. Just putting everything back on. Probably doing a valve adjustment and valve cover gasket. And then I think we'll be alright. Hopefully. Let me get the tools out of the way. I'll get the tools out of the way, I'll get it off of the jack, and then we'll start it up. Alright guys, it may take a couple seconds for this thing to crank, but it should run, hopefully. I kind of want to clean up a little bit of that oil right there before I start it. Right there beside the back side of the crankcase. I'm going to wash this thing off really good anyways before. Alright. Here goes nothing. Please, please. Try and start it back. Might have just sheared the flywheel key. Not sure. Let's see. I think it did. Or it did something. Ooh. It did something that it didn't like, that's for sure. That's the one thing I was kind of fearful of, is if it was going to shear the flywheel key, because the cover is a little bit different on these as opposed to the other ones. Ah. I can kind of see real quick, I suppose. I guess I can take that service port off there too, huh? Better than taking off the whole cover. Oh, I still got to do that, huh? Ugh. No, the flywheel key is still intact, which means that something happened with a valve or something along those lines. So, get the valve cover off. Might have just popped a rod or a valve seat or something. I'll at least look and see what's going on with it first. The valve seemed mighty loose in there, so it wouldn't surprise me if it threw a rod. Not a connecting rod, but an intake rod. So let me see if I can find my 10 millimeter, and we'll take the valve cover off and see what we have. All right, guys, timing is good. Valves are now adjusted. They were a little bit out. The only thing I can think of is that it popped the valve seat just from not sitting for a while, and then we were running it and ran it at a low speed. Didn't like it, it popped the valve seat. That's the only thing I can guess. That's what we're going to tackle tomorrow. We might just put I don't want to put that head on it. That was bad. We'll see if we can pop that seat back in, and then, like I said, I'm almost certain because it's timed correctly. This is the original flywheel of this engine, and it ran great, and then all of a sudden it just bam, 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 shut off. So that makes me think that it's a valve seat, which means that the head has got to come back off tomorrow. But we'll be doing that tomorrow. See ya then. All right, y'all, so it is the next day. I think I quit at a good time last night because I definitely would have taken the head off of this last night and tried to troubleshoot that. Ended up being really simple. That was my thought process throughout until I got back out here today was it's either, number one, a bad valve seat. Number two, it jumped timing in the engine, which is uncommon, but it happens. And then I got out here and I was like, oh yeah. Oh. So I remember, and I understand that this is not the best looking plug in the world, but I also do remember that the owner said that it was like, I guess it was popping and sputtering and whatnot before when the head gasket blew. He wanted to finish mulching leaves. I said, I was like, I mean, you're just keep an eye on the oil. You're not going to really mess anything up. And I think it's also because the timing was, I guess it was advanced on it a little bit, so it was sparking a little bit after the fuel, I guess. I don't know exactly how that works. I know it has to be in time for it to work. But I pulled the plug, and obviously see this, and like I said, it was running fine last night, but I guess it ended up finally fouling pretty good, and it looked like that when I put it in. I was just being lazy apparently. And I took it out, tested the spark, and instead of having that nice blue thin spark that you see on a good plug, we had those flames, like small flames is the best way to describe it. So spark plug, easiest thing in the world, right? I don't know if I could clean this one and make it work again, but it's probably been running poorly for so long that I probably just need to throw it away. I had the valve cover off, like I said already, and the gasket. What I'll do, I have gaskets here for these. I'm gonna put a gasket on it. And my garage, I just left my garage as it was last night, so we're gonna clean the garage up and all that stuff. I'll go ahead and put the hood and everything back on it, air filter. I'll make sure the sump gasket's not leaking from where I've patched it up, and we will. I'll just go test this out, and we should be done with this portion of the video pretty soon. Alright guys, hood's back on. That's a good sign. And ran it up the driveway there, did a little bit of leaf cleaning with it, and seems like it's alright now, so that's good. Relieved and happy, thankfully. Let me show y'all how it's running. Thumping has gone away because I don't have an issue with the plug anymore, or with the flywheel key. So that's good. I just need to clean everything up. Need to dress up this panel here as well. Here's a little bit of drainage action going on somewhere on there. Yeah, so it ended up being that plug that was bad. Thank goodness. I thought I was going to be working a whole afternoon on this. Now I can work on more things. Yay! That came in today. So, that's the end of part one of this. Looking back, I almost wish that I would have just bought a new flywheel for that original engine that came on this instead of doing that whole block swap that I did. You know, I got the mower for $100, and I didn't make a killing. I mean, I guess I made a lot off of this mower. But I tried to went the cheap route, and I think that block that I used just worn out, and with the whole combination of what I did with the putting everything back together and not having the original head to that block and things like that, I think it just ended up causing issues with the head gaskets, as well as I think me not knowing that flywheel key was sheared probably also had something to do with it. Had I seen that the flywheel key was sheared, first off, I probably would not have done what I did with the engine. I probably would have replaced the flywheel key, replaced the head gasket, and called it a day, honestly. But I think it's going to give me a little bit better peace of mind that I put this engine on it now that I know that it's running pretty good. Like I said, I've only ran it about 10 minutes. I'm going to run it across the yard after I get the blade fixed. Hopefully I can get the blade fixed here in part 2 of this John Deere series. I don't know what the issue is with the blade. We're going to find out. Hopefully we can find out and fix it, because this mower has kind of disappointed me a little bit in terms of its performance after all the work that I've done. So I'm doing my best to make it right for the customer, as well as give myself peace of mind too. Luckily I'm working with a great guy, and so that helps out a lot. But thank you all again for watching. We have got part 2 of this John Deere coming up. I will fix the blade, we'll give it a nice wash and make it look like new again. And I'll catch y'all on the next video. Remember, you can reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or on Instagram and Facebook at ellismowers09, as well as my website, ellismowers.com. And I'll see y'all in the next repair.